Do you mind if we do this here? Won't be long. Spoiler alert, it got dropped from the breakaway and we didn't win, so let's do a race vlog.
This is how we do this. In one way, I'm yours. In one way, we're strangers. But I know for sure we got something in common.
Conveniently, I was dropped from the breakaway and it wasn't captured on film again. I'm getting quite good at this. Anyway, so the New South Wales Elite State Championships. Now, a couple of weeks ago, guys, I did a vlog about the New South Wales Masters State Championships. And just to quickly explain that, so the Masters stuff is for people here in Australia over the age of 30. So it's everyone over the age of 30. The Elite stuff, it's essentially an Opens. It's the best. And this year, like it was last year, I think I'm right in saying, it was held down in Gunning, just south of Goulburn, which is probably like three-ish hours southwest of Sydney. It also meant that I had some teammates. So Jesse and Jay were in my race. Now in the under 23s, we had Miles and Leo. I will talk essentially about the elite race today because that's kind of what I was at. So the plan was pretty simple. The road race was on the Sunday and we headed down Saturday afternoon, down the Hume Highway, the good old Hume. Jeez, it's been a while, Hume. Down the Hume. Relatively uneventful drive down. We've gone through all the usual spots. Having a few teammates meant we had a bit of a team accommodation thing. So it meant doing the Airbnb thing with the guys. Not that this place isn't anything but lovely, but it always amazes me what Airbnbs actually exist. Like, who else is staying here? Ever. Anyway. Particularly uneventful, banterless evening. In very good cycling away trip fashion. You might need that.
That is gone.
That's all right. There it is. Yeah, so the current sort of protocol stuff is sign-in's a bit weird. In fact, I much prefer it. You've got less faffing around, so you just basically go, pick your number up, sign on. In fact, you've already signed on. And it's all kind of separate, and then you just go to the start line. So it's kind of nice. There's less faffing around. I use this phrase a lot on this channel to describe some of the state races that we do as draggy. And I suppose the best way to think about that is it's a big ring course in a race, but you're never necessarily on pure flat conditions. So that's sort of what I mean by that phrase of draggy, and this Gunning course is that to a T. Quick little course preview. So this is like the top of the climb as such, but it's real steppy. So when you're coming up from the start finish line, which is down that way, the second little part of the drag is just there. But I think the actual more interesting part is this way, coming back this tight of the hill. It's been hard for a couple of minutes, then it crests, and then you shoot down here. So something can kind of get away here. So 140 Ks, which essentially was 3 laps of this lumpy Gunning to Breadalbane. Please comment below, I'm sure I've said that wrong, course. Welcome to the glamour. All right, we're gonna go race, guys. Jay, myself and Jesse, 140 Ks, state champs, let's do it. Let's jump on board with Jesse COYLE, and spoiler alert, he makes the breakaway at the end of this little bit of footage, which is one of the reasons I want to show it to you. For some reason, guys, the power data here is like 5 seconds ahead of when it should be, so you'll get an idea of what Jesse's about to do. So that little 700 watts appeared, and he attacks. Now, this is a really small group. It's like 26, 27 in this race. So what happens is there's no bunch. There's just selection after selection after selection. And as I said in the course preview, that the first part of this course, the first like 20 Ks is a grindy uphill. And with a tailwind, you are just going to get really selective racing. So let me just show you what's going on here. This is just constant attacking, reforming, but there's reforming of different groups. So you'll see here, Jesse's in like the third group on the road at this point. There's two groups in front of him. He's almost at the back of the race. And what you'll tend to find is guys will start to attack. He has to jump to, so he just jumped to the middle group there, okay, which I was in. And he sees there's another group up in front. So he's got to go full gas to get across to that one. So this now is the front of the race. But we'll fast forward it a little bit again. The front, this isn't really a working group. Everyone's, pretty tired. You can starting to see there's a bit more laboured. We're on more of a climbing section now. But the heart rates are up and you're just seeing this constant splitting of these smaller, medium-sized 5-6 person groups. Now, let's get right down to it. We've been at it for about 15 minutes here, okay? There's another group, 5. That's the front of the race, just in front of you. Jesse's sort of clinging on to this one, and he's going to come across to that. So we're about 12, 15 minutes into the race on the drag, and as it turns out, this is the attack that eventually Jesse and Rylee get away with. You can kind of see there, we're at 9:12 a.m. We started at 9 a.m. It's been constant that whole time. We're on the drag, and as I said in the preview, we're coming up to that pinch point where I was parked the day before talking about the race. Now, jumping back to my camera at this point, get a little bit of idea about what's happening. So that there in front is the front. So they're the guys just behind Rylee and Jesse. And this is myself and Peter WAKEFIELD. I suppose we're actually the third group on the road, but it's only myself and him, and I'm full gas to try and get across to this bunch up here. But you can see just a wild start.
Oh yeah, I got to tell you this. So my setup was essentially exactly the same. My on-bike setup was essentially exactly the same as it has been all year. You guys are pretty familiar with it. The DeVille bike, the WTOs, Campy record, 12-speed, blah, blah, blah. Except for some unknown reason, I decided that the New South Wales Elite Men's State Championships road race would be a really good opportunity for me to try running high pressure in my tubeless wheels. So, on a rough state road race course, I put 100 PSI in my tyres. Now, that was terrible. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. That is not what tubeless wheels... I don't even know why I did this.
Coming back to the race footage just real quickly, this is Jesse's camera and he's crested out the climb and he's coming down the other side, and yeah, he has a small gap with Rylee and, well, that's it. Actually, it's just him and Rylee. It's a two-man show and they're going to go and get a minute or two on what is, well, left of the bunch.
After that original park got established, someone came up to me and said, oh, my water bottle cage was loose, which is really cool. Someone letting me know, right? So rear water bottle cage was loose, and it was like, and this was really important because feeding, etc., and I kind of had that dialed as what I needed. And so then I'm thinking, all right, what am I going to do about this? I'm going to have to somehow just only carry one water bottle. Anyway, but what I thought was kind of, well, I have to apologize to the people. So the first 5 or 6 people who told me that I had a loose water bottle cage, I was like, thank you, cheers, thanks for letting me know, etc. When it got to about to the 16th person, I think the straw that broke the camel's back was, I think Will Hodges said to me, Chris, your water bottle, and I was kind of a bit boxed at this point because your cage is loose, and I'm just like, I don't know. Sorry, Will, but it was more on the back of all these people who was very nice telling me that it had happened. It was actually really frustrating and it was really annoying because it's playing in the back of your head that, okay, that's going to come off at some point and there's no let up for me to try and like fiddle around with it, and also what I'm going to do with that extra, well, without that water bottle. So the plan really I just came up with was drink that water bottle as quickly as I could, so empty it, so at least I'd got that fluid into me at some point. I knew pretty quickly I didn't have good legs, and I've experienced this a little bit in the past, like I've had a really soft, muddy feeling in the legs for the first hour, And then it started to come good. Like a perfect example was L'Etape. I felt terrible for like 2 hours in L'Etape. But then I can remember coming into the bottom of Kosciuszko, I was having to ease back on the turns that I was pulling because I was like looking down sometimes going, oh no, I don't need to, like, that's too much type thing. Completely the opposite on the weekend. Still felt like I had to put myself in a position, hopefully come good later in the race, not let the race go past me and have never found out whether I could come good. To bridge across to Jesse and Rylee was going to take the right mix, and essentially that sort of meant probably a strong individual and a team, someone from a team that therefore wouldn't chase. And so when Darcy ELLERM attacked on kind of a quiet downhill section, really strong individual, perfect time to go, went with him, turned around, saw Sam Hill on my wheel, bridge lane rider, he had the teammate up the road, which would also mean that his other teammate wouldn't chase. Perfect mix. Not gonna lie with you, skipped a few turns coming across with them, and I don't think that bothered them too much. I think Darcy made a comment to me the other day. He said, like, after he pulled a turn bridging across and he took the turn back and he saw like a foot of snot hanging out my nose, he's like, yeah, well, Chris isn't soft pedaling here, he's going pretty deep. The bunch were about a minute and a half behind when we got to Rylee and Sam, and I have to say, as soon as we got there, there was, I think, a collective sigh from the three of us that we'd got there. We had a little bit of eating and drinking and went very quickly into rolling turns, which took that gap straight out to 2 minutes. And I'm not going to lie to you, at that point I'm thinking, we've got 5 people up here. Jesse is probably a good solid shot from this group. You know, we start riding, we leave the bunch behind, they're already at 2 minutes, and this is a really nice position to be in. Just coming back to myself for a moment, because I can only really ever talk about myself in this space and how I'm feeling. My kind of mentality, I felt myself starting to come good, but I always felt that that second half of the lap, the windy, I was going to struggle. And so when Jay bridged across with Ben Hill and Will Hodges, I had not managed my nutrition well enough in the bridging move, and that sometimes happens. You get really in the moment, you forget about nutrition. And so when the guys came across, I really did try and take on as much as possible. I went through that other bottle, which kind of put me down to no bottles. I did have the option of a feed at the end of that lap, which was something I knew if I got to, I would come good. Now, we hit the most exposed part of the course on the second lap, and the guys started attacking. Gutter attacking, following as many moves as I could. I'm probably close to being on the limit, and was a moment that I should have just gone ultraviolet, got him back across, and put the white flag up myself and told the guys. Well, not told the guys, they would have seen. I didn't, and that hesitation probably forced Jesse to consider sitting with me, to thinking I'm still good to come across. Didn't. And essentially I've stitched him up and he's been dropped from the move as well. So going from a position where you had 3 guys in, what, 8? We've gone to 1 in 6. Super disappointing. And
look, Chris pulls the camera out. Like, what the hell?
not good enough from me, really.
From there, Will Hodges took the win. He took the New South Wales Elite Men's State title. Congratulations to him, and congratulations to everyone really who did come out and race. Guys, I don't know why the bunch, the group for the Elite race was so small, especially given the huge interest we've seen in road racing recently. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. So, but I don't want to take anything away from the guys who turned up. Awesome to see.
It's going to be hard to make a vlog of that, I'll tell you right now. How'd your race go?
Went really well, actually. Well, first hour, kind of taxed as anticipated. Miles rode off with a good group of sprinters, and that was it for me. Just had an easy rest of the day, and then second in field sprint for 8th. Miles finished in 3rd, so it was a good day.
Was it easy?
I don't think it was easy.
Yeah.
The power was still up there, but definitely not as hard as the guys in the break. They were trucking.
They're chucking.
Yeah.
Nice one, mate.
But guys, that is the road race, and well, it's probably the last road race vlog I'm going to do until, well, the end of this month. And the NRS is happening. The NRS is back. We will be, well, I will post all the details on the team page in the coming weeks about what's going on, but it's a super, super exciting 10 days of racing in northern New South Wales. We're really hopeful we'll have all the guys in the team there. We're fingers crossed that the Victorian border is coming down. I don't know when this video will go live, but hopefully you will see that that has happened by then. So 10 days of racing to sort out the NRS for the year, and yeah, we're really pumped about it. So obviously subscribe to the channel, like these videos, and we will try and pump them out for you and give you as much content coming up to that as possible. Alrighty. Pleasure as always, kids. Thank you very much to the people in this laneway who have let me do this, because I couldn't go inside. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. It's painting day for Kira. No way. That's why you got a smartwatch. So yeah, it looks like that's crazy. The Victorian borders, look at that. It's looking like the Victorian border is going to come down on the 22nd. We're good. Alrighty. That's like 3 times I've got a message perfectly for the vlog. Talk to you.